It is time for us to speak out, to resist, and to protect those freedoms that we hold dear, that I myself raised my hand and said I will protect and defend. The time for complacency is done. The time for action is right now. I swore my oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Hello, hello, namaste, my witchlings. All right. I have fur up my nose. Big surprise for anybody who knows me. All right. Put my eyes here on. Maybe. All right, gonna give people a minute to get in here and do my digital housekeeping by saying, be mindful of the energy you bring into my space and be respectful in my chat. If you are not, I will make sure you get to Banhama. Oh, noes. No donut. All right. Oh, itchy. Do the like, share, and subscribe thing if you want to know when we are doing this again, or you just want to catch one of my regular lives. I am hoping to be able to see here in a second. There we go. All right. Hey, I can see. How about them apples? I feel like I have hair. All right. So today's topics. Today I am bitching more as a witch and a woman than as a vet. There we go. All right. So today I'm bitching more as a woman and as a mother than I am as a witch or a veteran. Because, oh man almighty, is Georgia doing dirty by a woman. There is a young pregnant woman was declared brain dead after a medical emergency. And because of Georgia's abortion laws, she is being kept physically alive until the fetus is viable outside the womb. Her family is totally opposed to this. Here's the absolute fun part. Her due date is still at least 18 weeks away, and she has been on life support for over 90 forking days. Her family is understandably devastated by this and highly upset that the law restricting abortion once fetal heartbeat is heard, abortion is no longer an option. Georgia's heartbeat law. Oh man, I do not like heartbeat laws. Georgia's heartbeat law, called the Life Act, is one of the incredibly restrictive statutes put in place in many conservative states after the Dobbs ruling overturning Roe v. Wade in 2022. Our pregnant patient in this case is one Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old mother and nurse. Ooh, I'm having a little bit of trouble breathing. Give me a second. Our pregnant patient in this case is Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old mother and nurse. She was declared brain dead in February, meaning she is legally dead. Her mother, April Newkirk, informed WXIA, an Atlanta TV station. According to Ms. Newkirk, her daughter Adriana began developing intense headaches over 3 months ago. She went to Northside Hospital in Atlanta, where they gave her drugs and sent her home, no tests. The next morning, she was gasping for air when her boyfriend woke up, which prompted him to call 911. Emory University Hospital declared her brain dead with blood clots in her brain. Miss Smith is currently about 22 weeks pregnant and oh my good grief, I'm annoying myself. There it is. All right. Miss Smith is currently 22 weeks or so along, and if she were to be taken off of life support, i.e. her breathing tubes and other life support devices removed, it would more than likely kill her and the fetus. Well, she's already dead. Anyway, according to AP News, Northside Hospital did not respond to a request for comment. Emory says that due to privacy rules, they cannot comment on individual cases, but did release a statement saying it, quote, uses consensus from medical experts or from clinical experts, medical literature, and legal guidance to support our providers as they make individualized treatment recommendations in compliance with Georgia's abortion laws and all other applicable laws. Our top priorities continue to be the safety and well-being of the patients we serve. The family says they have been informed by Emory doctors that they are not allowed to stop or remove the life support devices like the breathing tube because state law bans abortion after cardiac activity can be detected. This starts at about 6 weeks into the pregnancy and for many women before they even realize they're forkin' pregnant. With my first pregnancy, I was about 6 weeks along. My second pregnancy, I was 5 weeks along. Third pregnancy, I was 6 weeks along. It's about when a woman misses her first period. Georgia adopted this law in 2019, but did not enforce it until after the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, 3 years later. This ruling opened the door for state abortion bans, and there are currently 12 states enforcing bans at all stages of pregnancy, and there are 3 others, as well as Georgia, that have bans kicking in around 6 weeks. Georgia's ban, like others, includes an exception in the case of the mother's life is endangered: rape, incest. These exceptions have been at the center of many legal and political questions, including a major Texas Supreme Court ruling that found their ban applies even when there are major complications with the pregnancy. Unfortunately, at this point, Ms. Smith doesn't fit neatly into any of those categories, though, because she is already dead. Ms. Smith's family, including her living 5-year-old son, still visit her in the hospital regularly. Her mother, Ms. Newkirk, told the news station that doctors have informed the family that they are concerned for his health due to fluid on the brain, the fetus. I apologize. Ms. Smith is pregnant with a little boy, they have discovered, and there is fluid on his brain. A quote from her mother: "She's pregnant with my grandson, but he may be blind, may not be able to walk, may not survive once he's born," she said. What she has not said was whether they wanted Ms. Smith removed from life support. This case highlights concerns raised in a lawsuit challenging Georgia's abortion law, which... My brain is not braining. Let's try this paragraph over. This case highlights concerns raised in a lawsuit challenging Georgia's abortion law, led by the organization Sisters Song. Monica Simpson, the executive director of this organization, has publicly stated that this situation is troubling. In her statement, Ms. Simpson said her family deserved the right to have decision-making power about her medical decisions. Instead, they have endured over 90 days of re-traumatization, expensive medical costs, and the cruelty of being unable to resolve and move toward healing. Bioethicist and lawyer Thaddeus Pope of Mitchell Hamline School of Law in St. Paul, Minnesota, said while there are a few states that do specifically limit removing treatment from a pregnant woman who is alive but incapacitated or brain dead, Georgia does not. He says removing the woman's mechanical ventilation or other support would not constitute an abortion. Continued treatment is not legally required. Shocking, right? A University of Virginia bioethicist and law professor, Lois Shepard, also does not believe life support is legally required in this case. She said that whether a state could insist Ms. Smith remain on life support is uncertain since the overturning of Roe, because it was found that fetuses do not have the same rights as people, because they're not people yet. Pre-Dobbs, a fetus didn't have any rights, and the state's interest in fetal life could not be so strong as to overcome other important rights. But now, we don't know, she says. This situation is very similar to a case out of Texas over 10 years ago. A brain-dead woman was kept on life support for about 2 months due to her pregnancy. Eventually, a judge did rule that the hospital was misapplying state law, and she was taken off of life support. A pregnant person being brain dead is rare, and even rarer are cases where the doctors attempt to prolong the pregnancy after the person is declared brain dead. Says Dr. Vincenzo Bergella, the director of maternal fetal medicine at Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia, it's a very complex situation, obviously, not only ethically but medically. I mean, there really is no happy ending here for anyone. The mother is dead and is not coming back. The fetus has fluid on his brain and may not survive anyway. And if he does, he stands a pretty good chance of being pretty severely disabled. Dr. Bergella co-authored a review in 2021 that scoured medical literature going back decades, looking for cases where doctors tried to prolong the pregnancy of a brain-dead patient. The review found a whole whopping 35. Of those 35 cases, there were 27 live births, with the majority either immediately declared healthy or via normal follow-up testing. The good doctor also cautioned here that the Georgia case was far more complicated because of the stage of pregnancy Ms. Smith was at when declared brain dead. The doctors were able to prolong the pregnancy by an average of 7 weeks. 7 weeks. Before complications forced interventions in the 35 cases he studied. Ms. Smith has been on life support for around 12. He observed, it's just hard to keep the mother out of infection, out of cardiac failure. She's already dead, so... He also observed that he found one single case from Germany that resulted in a live birth when the pregnant person was declared brain dead at about the point Ms. Smith was. One single case. Georgia law is one that confers personhood upon a fetus. This means that fertilized eggs, embryos, and fetuses should be considered people with the same rights as those already born. Ed Setzler, the Republican Georgia State Senator who sponsored the 2019 law, says he supports Emery's interpretation. Are we shocked? I'm not shocked. He claims, I think it is completely appropriate that the hospital do what they can to save the life of the child. I think this is an unusual circumstance, but I think it highlights the value of innocent human life. I think the hospital is acting appropriately. I absolutely love that the unborn fetus that was still little more than a clump of cells when Ms. Smith was declared brain dead has more freaking rights than the dead woman they are using to incubate it. She is dead. They are keeping her body functioning artificially to incubate this fetus. He also said, I think there's a valuable human life that we have an opportunity to save, and I think it's the right thing to save it. To suggest otherwise is to declare the child as being other than human. It's a clump of cells. Up until about 20 weeks is when it starts being potentially viable outside the womb. I am thankful that the hospital recognizes the full value of the small human life living inside of this regrettably dying young mother. Mindful of the deep pain of this young mother's family, the wisdom of modern medical science to be able to save the life of her unborn child is something that I am hopeful in future years will lead to great joy, with her child having a chance to grow into vibrant adulthood. I would be thankful if the Living Infants Fairness and Equality Act played a small part in taking the tragic, unavoidable death of this young mother and allowing at least one of the two lives now hanging in the balance to be saved. He continued by saying that he believes it is sometimes acceptable to remove life support from someone who is brain dead, but that the law is, quote, an appropriate check, unquote, because the mother is pregnant. He said Ms. Smith's relatives have, quote, good choices, including keeping the child or putting it up for adoption, if he survives. He's all for saving a valuable human life. But yet, if this child is born severely disabled, blind, unable to walk, talk, go to school, or hold a forking job, I am willing to bet dollars to freaking donuts he will be the first one screaming about people relying on the government to support them. The fascist Cheeto-in-chief himself has straight up told his own relative with a disabled child to just let the kid die because they're too expensive. Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr appears to disagree. A spokesperson from Mr. Carr's office said this: "Our prayers go out to the family of Adriana Smith during this difficult time. There is nothing in the Life Act that requires medical professionals to keep a woman on life support after brain death. Removing life support is not an action, quote, with the purpose to terminate a pregnancy." This isn't the first time Georgia's abortion ban has been in the spotlight either. Last year, ProPublica highlighted 2 Georgia women who died after not receiving the necessary medical treatment for complications from abortion pills. Amber Thurman and Candy Miller's stories were brought up in the presidential race, with former Vice President Kamala Harris telling us all that their deaths were the result of the abortion bans that went into effect in Georgia and other states post-Dobbs. According to PBS, it's okay. According to PBS, the Texas Supreme Court last year unanimously ruled against a group of women challenging the abortion ban in the state, claiming the exceptions were being so narrowly interpreted that even with serious pregnancy complications, they were denied access to necessary abortions. This year, though, a bill seeking to clarify when abortions are allowed passed the state Senate. There is now some hope. Abortion rights groups in South Dakota have blasted a video produced for doctors about when exceptions to their ban should apply. In December of last year, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments over if the federal law requiring hospitals to provide abortions in emergency medical situations should apply, and a ruling on that is expected in the coming months. Thank the gods. Let's talk some more about the Life Act. Again, before the Life Act was passed, I'm going to take a sip. Anyway, before it was passed, the Life Act was extremely controversial, with state lawmakers setting out to make Georgia one of the most restrictive states on abortion. And there were plenty of advocacy groups trying to warn them about the unintended consequences of this. Daniela Rodriguez, who is the Georgia State Coordinator for Sister Song, tells us this was exactly what we were talking about. I do believe that this is going to continuously happen until legislators stand up and repeal the abortion ban. These are not isolated events. This is continuously happening. We just don't know all of the stories. She also said the situation is made all the worse by the fact that Ms. Smith was sent home from 2 hospitals prior to the medical incident that landed her in the Emory on life support. Her family confirmed this in a post on her GoFundMe that Ms. Newkirk has set up for her daughter. She should have been listened to first. That's why we say trust Black women. It's scary because it could happen to any one of us, Ms. Rodriguez says. Now, it is not currently clear what Ms. Smith said when she went to the hospital or if the care she received was standard for the symptoms she presented with. Black women often complain that their pain and other complaints isn't taken seriously. An AP investigation found that Black women have worse health outcomes because of circumstances related to unequal access to care and flat out racism. I mean, I have seen doctors who have admitted that in med school, they are taught that black people don't feel pain the same way as white people. They are also taught, and this one blows my freaking mind, they are taught that black skin, that the skin is thicker than white skin, and therefore it doesn't register pain the same way. And I'm like, anyway, Miss Simpson, Sister Song's executive director, said, Black women must be trusted when it comes to our healthcare decisions. Like so many black women, Adriana spoke up for herself. She expressed what she felt in her body, and as a healthcare provider, she knew how to navigate the medical system. She noted that by the time Miss Smith was diagnosed, it was already too late. Now, despite being on a ventilator and probably other life support devices, she has been declared brain dead, which means she is dead. She is not going to wake up. She is not going to recover and go home. She is gone. Also, it is currently unclear whether she had health insurance, despite having been a nurse at the very forkin' hospital her body is being held hostage at. My word saying her body is being held hostage, not her family, just in case anyone wants to get a hair up their ass about how I said that. Joanne Volk, a professor, founder, and co-director of the Center on Health Insurance Reforms at Georgetown, says that for people with insurance, it is typically up to the insurance company to determine whether care is medically necessary and covered. I just fought with something like that myself. So, this honestly leads me to think that she probably is not insured. I just have that feeling. And so, since nobody knows how expensive it's going to be to keep this poor woman's body incubating until the fetus can survive without it, or who is paying the bill once it's done, her mother, Ms. Atkins, has set up a GoFundMe that mentions Miss Smith's 7-year-old son, and that if the baby survives, he could very well have significant disabilities. Also, they have chosen to name him Chance. I actually think that's appropriate. We do not know at this time if the blood clots in Ms. Smith's brain were pregnancy related or not. So there is also that. We are living the Handmaid's Tale, y'all. And now, something more entertaining. Apparently, Stephen Miller and his wife were assigned as Musk's handlers recently, or while he was in D.C., and now that he has come to the end of his time at the White House, Mrs. Miller is following him out. Katie Miller was a top advisor and spokesperson for Doge. The other day, she announced that she is leaving Doge to work for Elon Musk. Reportedly, she will now be working, quote, full-time for the Muskrat and is already helping him set up interviews unrelated to Doge. Similarly to the Muskrat, Mrs. Miller joined the team as a, quote, special government employee, and their allotted time of 130 days was up yesterday. Rumor has it around Washington that this is also the result of a throuple that went bad, and many are awaiting the announcement that Katie Miller is the newest woman to birth another Muskrat baby. As he was on his way out the door, Musk tweeted that he was, quote, disappointed in the fascist Cheetos Big Beautiful Bill because it will increase the deficit and therefore undermine the work that the Doge team accomplished. Stephen Miller shot back that the Congressional Budget Office's found that the bill increasing the deficit by $3.8 trillion, $3.8 trillion increase to the federal deficit is, quote, an accounting gimmick. But there have been numerous other analyses of this legislation that have all found the same thing. Tiny Hand McGee's big, beautiful bill is a big, beautiful pile of bovine excrement. And with that, my darling witchlings, I am going to check in with the chat to wrap up the evening. Oh, is there nobody? Nobody loves me. I am not going to complain right at the moment because, oh my God, the stupidity in our government currently is killing me. And with that, my loves, I will bid you all a fond farewell. If you liked this, do us all a favor, hit the like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. And then please go out there and spread love, spread joy, and spread kindness, because there is already, as we have discussed tonight, so much hate and discontent out there. We really do not need to be adding to it. Let us please try to be a beacon of light and hope for those who are losing theirs. Let your loved ones, human, scaly, furry, and feathered, know that you love them beyond measure. You do not know how long you're going to have with them, and I can tell you from experience that phone call was one that sucks. I am grateful to my witchlings who have stuck around. You guys are the best. If you enjoyed the video, leave me a comment of 7 words. And if you can't think of anything, Panic at the Disco's got your back. Hey, look, die, I made it. Yay. And then remember, you guys. Hey, Troy, you came in just at the end, my friend. Remember, guys, you are loved, you are wanted, you are needed, and you genuinely do have a purpose in this life. It's Saturday night. Go out and have a good night. And I will see y'all tomorrow for Coffee and Cues. Love you to bits.